Welcome back to the show, everyone. So, I have a question for you. Is it better to pay off your rental properties or to buy more? I would like to talk about that today because this topic is absolutely blowing up, and everyone, especially you Dave Ramsey people out there, are asking the same question. In fact, I was on a phone call with a client this morning, and he asked me that. Should I be aggressively paying down my rental debt or using that cash to buy more properties? Well, today, let's dig right into it. And I am going to challenge some deeply held beliefs about debt. So, if you're stuck between wanting to be debt free and wanting to build serious wealth, or you can't sleep at night because you have mortgages on rental properties, you need to hear this conversation. Welcome to Passively Rich with Rentals, the podcast that helps busy people learn how to invest in real estate out of state. Because let's be honest, most of us live in markets that just don't make financial sense. So, how do you build real passive income without creating another job for yourself? That is exactly what this show is all about. I have helped over 2,000 clients actually buy and close out of state rentals. And inside this episode, you are going to hear exactly how smart investors think about leverage, why paying off properties early might be costing you millions, and we're going to talk about the snowball method that actually makes sense. So, let's get into it. So, we're going to go back to the question that my client asked me this morning. So, the details of this are he's got a property that is almost paid off, okay? And it's a rental property and it's cash flowing really well. And he's sitting on a bunch of equity. And sometimes I refer to this equity as lazy couch potato money. It's just there not doing anything. But he is creating really good cash flow. But then what is he doing with that cash flow? That's taxable income. And he's just sticking it in the bank and it's earning, I don't know, 0.001% interest. So even his cash flow isn't really working for him. So here's the topic or the conversation that we kind of talked about is what if he did a cash out refinance and took some of that equity out and then put that money down on more properties? So overall, he's taking on debt. Okay. So, first of all, let's talk about this debt. And again, if you haven't listened to some of my past episodes with Aaron Chapman talking about debt, go back and listen to those. I will link one of those in the show notes because they're really good. But the idea here, taking on debt, is you're making your money work for you. So, the bank is actually putting up the bulk of the money. You're only putting down 20 or 25%. So you're not putting up 100% of the property. So the other part to that is the tenant is paying down your mortgage for you. They're literally writing you a rent check every month. You are making a profit after all your expenses are paid. You should be having some type of profit there. A portion of what you pay on your mortgage is going to go towards the equity, and some of it does go into paying off the interest. So the tenant is actually buying you a free house at the end of the day. So you're getting cash flow. The property is going up in value. Real estate goes up in value in America. Every year you get rental increases. And then, of course, there's tax benefits, inflation, all these amazing things are happening. Okay. So if you take out some of this lazy equity in the property, and let's say you take out enough to buy 2, 3 properties and you use the down payments and you leverage with a lender. So the lender's going to cover the rest and you're just going to put 20 or 25% down. Now, let's say those 3 properties are cash flowing, just to keep math simple, let's say $300 a month. Okay, so 3 properties, what is that? $900 a month in cash flow. But now you have, let's just say these properties were about $200,000 each. Okay, now basically you have 3 properties worth $200,000 that your tenants are paying off for you. Eventually, they are going to pay that mortgage off if you wait 30 years. Now, there is another strategy called the snowball strategy that we are going to get to because it's a really cool strategy. So now you have 3 properties worth $200,000. Well, in 5 years, those properties are probably going to be worth close to $300,000. Okay. So you basically, let's just say these 3 properties are now worth $1 million. Okay. That's pretty awesome. Or you can now going back to the original story of the one property that he had, he still has that property. Okay, he's just taking the cash out of it. He just used that property to buy 3 more. So now in 10 years, those 3 properties are worth $1,000,000 plus his other property. He still has that. I don't know what it was worth. So you can see how he just built wealth by tapping into that lazy equity. So it's not just about the cash flow. And by the way, with those 3 properties now, he is able to cover the cash flow of that one property, what it was when it was almost paid off. So you see where I'm going here is that more properties actually create more income, they actually create more wealth, and also there's rental increases as well. So the cash flow is going to continue to go up. And now he has all 4 of those properties. Okay, we got that covered, right? Everybody understand that. This is one of the most exciting things about real estate that I can talk about all day long. So let's talk about the real estate snowball. So going back to his question is, okay, so he's going to tap in, he's going to take some equity out. But when do you say, okay, enough is enough? I'm done buying rental properties and I want to start paying them off because that is something that I do plan on doing. And there's a really cool strategy around this. So, right now, let me back up and say I'm in the buy phase. And this is where most people are. So, the idea is you save up, you buy, you save up, you buy. So, we're buying rental properties, okay? And we're creating wealth, we're creating cash flow, all these things. But when it comes to retirement planning, at some point, I'm going to be like, hey, it would be really nice if these were all paid off and I just could live on that cash flow. Okay. And that's retirement money. And also, I don't want to leave my children with properties with loans on them. Now, I do have life insurance and all the things that could pay it off, but it would just be nice and easy if I could pass on properties that are completely paid off. So, if that interests you, this might be the strategy for you. Now, the goal is that you have to own a bunch of rental properties before you do this. So that's why I said you're in the buy phase. So let's say you own 10 rental properties, and I'm just going to do easy math here, okay? And let's just say, again, keeping with the easy math, you've got these 10 properties. Let's say each property you paid $100,000 for them, okay? And yes, there are some properties out there for about $100,000 you can still get in good areas. And I do help clients buy those. So this isn't a totally made up scenario to keep my math simple. But, anyways, let's say each of those properties were cash flowing. Let's just say all 10 properties are bringing in $3,000 a month in cash flow. Very doable, real situation. Okay. So now what you're going to do with these 10 properties is you're going to be like, hey, I have enough. I don't want to buy more. Let's start to pay them off with the real estate snowball. Okay. And there are plenty of charts out there that show you how to do this. But the idea is you take all of your passive income every single month, so that $3,000. And what you're going to do is you're going to dump it into mortgage number 1. So you're going to find the property probably that's the lowest debt on it, that's like the one that you can pay off the quickest, or you could even say, hey, I want to pick off the one that has the higher interest rate. Whatever you want to do, pick one of the properties, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to dump that $3,000 every single month into the mortgage as an extra payment that goes towards the equity. So when you make your mortgage payment, okay, there's a box you can usually check that says, do you want to pay towards the equity of this property? So it's an additional money. You're not making an additional payment. You're actually paying it down towards the equity. So make sure you click the right box on or check the right box on there. Okay. So now you just paid every single month $3,000 towards the equity. Now, again, just keeping math simple, if this was a $100,000 property, I don't know how long you've owned it. So we're going to summarize here. You can pay off that property in a couple years, like 2 to 3 years. Now you own that property free and clear. So let's say now, again, to keep math simple, now you have, let's just say $3,500 a month in passive income because there's no mortgage on that other one. It's probably higher than that, but again, I'm just going to roll with the simple math. So now you take that whole $3,500 and you dump it into mortgage number 2. So now you're going to pay that property off and it's going to go up. It's going to get paid off pretty quickly because you've got a little bit more money now. You have that extra $500. So that one will be paid off in a couple years. And then guess what? You're going to take that money. Let's just say it's $4,000 now. And you're going to roll that over and you're going to dump it into mortgage number 3 and so on. Okay, if you follow that and you stick with that, you can pay off those 10 properties in this scenario in about 7 to 8 years. Okay, so you can pre plan retirement goals around, and again, we all have AI, we have ChatGPT, and I've run this scenario with ChatGPT for my properties and my scenario, and it's genius and it's brilliant. I don't need to do it for you. If you have any questions about it, reach out to me. I can give you some tips, but it's pretty basic for a computer to figure out. You can even run it on a spreadsheet if you're a spreadsheet person. So basically, the idea here is, let's say you pay off all of your properties. Now, 110 properties that are worth $100,000 each, that is $1 million portfolio. Okay. So now, with them all paid off and no debt, let's say you're bringing in $7,000 to $8,000 a month in passive income. Okay. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. That is now retirement money. Now, if you use this as an example and go, hey, I want more than that. Okay. Well, if we're talking about rental properties, let's say you don't have any other retirement accounts or anything like that, and you're just doing rental properties for retirement, and you're like, hey, I want more than that. Well, then guess what? You probably need to buy 20 properties. Maybe you need to buy 30 properties. Maybe you need to buy 50 properties. I don't know what your number is, what your retirement goal number is for you to figure out what you need. And then you work the math backwards, and that's how many properties you buy. Maybe you only need 5. Maybe you're happy with 5 properties. Maybe you're happy with 12 properties. I don't know your number, but the cool thing is the math is the math, and this is a real solid plan. So this is called the Real Estate Snowball. I do have a calculator that kind of helps you figure it out a little bit, but again, honestly, I think the AI one is pretty awesome. So, what do you guys think about that? Do you like the idea of that? Now, some of my clients who are planning for retirement definitely look into this more. But you know what? If you're not planning retirement in the next 10 years, then you are in the buy phase. So, the goal is to buy properties in good areas that cash flow, they're going up in value. Some of my favorite markets are Indianapolis, Kansas City, St. Louis, Birmingham. There's some really solid markets out there for both cash flow and appreciation. If you want higher cash flow and you're like, hey, I just want lots and lots of cash flow, markets in Ohio, markets in Mississippi are really great markets. And if you're like, hey, you know what? I just want a little bit more appreciation, then we can talk about markets like Florida or North Carolina, or maybe even Texas, even though next Texas is really, really tough right now because property taxes are so high. But I definitely have teams and connections for you in some of these markets. Property prices, you guys, you can get into properties for as little as $100,000. And by the way, we're talking about fully renovated properties with local property management in place. So we cannot do that in a lot of markets, certainly not in California. So, anyways, I hope this episode helped you. And one thing that you can do for me is share it with somebody that you think would like it too. And then I'm going to ask you for a review. This is a new podcast and I'm trying to grow it. And I would absolutely love your review on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you're at. I have a link in the show notes so you can rate this podcast, trying to make it as easy as possible. And then my other call to action is I have a new community. I want you guys to join my community. It is on a platform called School. There is a link in the show notes below. It's totally free to join. There's a free 3-day rental course in there teaching you how to be a lazy investor, some goal setting stuff in there. It's really awesome. And I really want investors to connect in there and build relationships. So we are building that out and I'm very, very excited about it. So anyways, I hope this was helpful and I will see you on the next one.